Hello, and welcome back to Rendy Reviews, where I, Rendy Jones, review the latest in film and television. Alright everybody, we are now at phase 4 of the MCU, and all of a sudden they want to introduce new characters who supposedly were around since the genesis of time itself. Okay, that's right, we're here with the Eternals, the group of heroes from beyond the stars who apparently have protected the Earth since the dawn of man. When monstrous creatures called the Deviants, long thought lost to history, mysteriously return, the Eternals are forced to reunite in order to defend humanity once again. Even though, this is post-Thanos' snap. Alright, whatever, come on. I am one of the few critics who really actually genuinely like this movie. Alright, here we go. The Marvel Cinematic Universe's business model of tapping beloved indie filmmakers to adapt whatever superhero in their extensive catalog has felt a bit worn out recently. Ever since Ryan Coogler's Black Panther in 2018, there hasn't been an MCU flick where the director's voice or vision spoke louder than the superhero's status. Until now. Academy Award-winning filmmaker Chloé Zhao, that feels so damn good to say, brings her signature vision to Eternals' big screen debut, with an ensemble piece that blends her quiet and minimalist style of filmmaking with this ever-expanded universe. While many MCU movies lately have been on blue screen autopilot, being soundstage heavy with an overabundance of CG backgrounds that range in quality, CC Black Widow and Shang-Chi, Zhao's signature style of naturalism is thrown to the forefront. With Eternals, she delivers one of the most visually unique entries to date, mostly due to shooting on location, a practice that has proven to be foreign to Kevin Feige. Zhao integrates a refreshing sense of naturalism that brings a change of pace in creating a realistic atmosphere from a filmmaking standpoint. Similar to the recent Dune, Eternals benefits from being shot on location, so as this globe-trotting journey begins, you feel the grandiose spectacle of its adventure. They incorporate environments in multiple countries as the cinematography utilizes natural lighting and applies CG effects when necessary, instead of putting this cast on a soundstage with a blue screen to run around in costumes. When the Eternals have to fight against their predators, the Deviants, who hunt them down throughout the film, there's a bizarre yet oddly fascinating expression of Darwinism that's brutal due to most of the action set pieces taking place outdoors. Though it's as formulaic as it gets by concept and design, and a little bit on execution, the action sequences hold weight to them and are distinct due to the filmmaking method. Even though they are just regular good old CG creatures themselves. As the Eternals enter the Earth thousands of centuries prior to Captain America throwing his mighty shield, writers Chloé Zhao, Patrick Burleigh, Ryan Firpo, and Kaz Firpo are set with the challenge to introduce these immortal godlike alien beings 25 movies and 4 series into the MCU, and giving them a place in this world of heroes. Instead of attempting to tie itself together with all the events of the Infinity Saga, Eternals achieves that being self-contained enough to stand on its own without reminding you that it's a Marvel flick. You only get a few fleeting references to other known heroes and the event of the blip itself, but its primary focus is on the Eternals. While it's touted to be an ensemble superhero epic full of action and celestial elements, the scope is used to serve, at its core, a globetrotting family drama. The narrative is of massive scale for it spans centuries and locations as Cersei, Sprite, and Icarus trek across the earth to gather the Eternals, Kingo, Phastos, Macquarie, Droog, Gilgamesh, Ajax, and Athena. With their natural predator, the Deviants, re-emerge and track them down, they must stand united to fight back and protect the Earth for the first time in centuries. The story is focused on the Eternals' familial unit, establishing each individual member as a person first, and the relationship they share with both humanity and their immortality. Much like Zhao's other features, the film shines best when it focuses on the human relationships these characters share. Eternals' narrative structure is reminiscent of Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, which is funny since the film makes a reference to Superman himself. It takes a Malekian approach to storytelling, bouncing between non-chronological moments in time to elaborate the intimate relationship the group had with both each other and humanity throughout centuries. This is the first time in a long time that the MCU has been narratively ambitious in its storytelling. Whereas Man of Steel failed at showing the humanistic side of that godlike alien, for it was too busy trying to position Clark Kent as Jesus, Eternals excels at giving these gods amongst men human traits despite their abilities. They have a mission and a set of guidelines to follow throughout the evolution of man, but when history begins to play out with wars, famines, and genocide, Their mortality and alliances are tested. The non-chronological scenes of the past piece together a vast jigsaw puzzle to show how this group that was once united broke apart due to their individual ideologies. Chloé Zhao does a fantastic job delivering this type of storytelling and themes of humanity that other superhero films couldn't. The ensemble is full of diverse and impeccable performers who inhabit their roles so powerfully. While you have the likes of Salma Hayek, Tyree Henry, Angelina Jolie, and Kumail Nanjiani present, this is Gemma Chan's show. Talk about Kevin Feige apologizing for wasting Chan's talent in Captain Marvel. He made her the lead in an MCU movie and she's astounding. She's the empath who sees the hope in humanity and has to fulfill the destiny that is unbeknownst to her. Due to the film's extensive runtime being dedicated to exploring each member of the team with depth and dimension, everyone gets their time in the sun. Everyone is gonna have their new favorite Eternal in power and character. And for me, it's Barry Keoghan as the brooding, mind-controlling pacifist Druig. He oozes raw emotion whenever he's on screen. I also enjoyed Kumail Nanjiani as Kingo, who is a great comedic relief and has the most entertaining character background. I normally don't care about costuming in a superhero movie, but man, the Eternals' attire throughout the centuries is so astronomical and classy that it makes them truly look like gods. There is a variety of amazing costuming for everyone as they adopt the attire of the cultural areas they settled in throughout time, and it helps elevate the grand scale of their eternal lifespan. Okay, this past Monday, I got to my press screening a bit late because I was coming from a production gig in upstate New York. So I bolted to the theater and thankfully, a second screening opened up and it started right when I sat down. While I was exhausted from both working a long shoot and hauling ass from Grand Central to Times Square, I had no idea what the runtime was. The movie is 2 hours and 37 minutes long, but I didn't feel the length. But I also will admit, the film suffers from major pacing issues. Eternals is a bit too convoluted for its own good, for it features extensive scenes of world building exposition to set up whatever's planned for future movies. That being said, I found myself completely immersed both visually and emotionally in the plight of the Eternals' journey. This might be the most mature MCU movie to date in tone and storytelling. You could say it's geared towards adults because, it has a sex scene. But the sound of the formulaic gears is still too loud. While it's distinctly a Chloé Zhao movie, the worst or just most recognizable attributes of a Marvel movie that are formulaic and trite seep their way through the film and it disrupts its pacing. The film features great natural comedic relief from Kumail Nanjiani, who is exuberant as he is beefy, and he never steps out of place nor stops the film to deliver a joke. The screenplay does that itself, with random moments meant for a stupid joke that comes at inappropriate moments. I know there's gotta be that one executive who loves quips in the same way producer John Peters loves spiders. Whenever the film hits a unique and groundbreaking point of realism, you hear somebody behind the scenes go, "Oh no, this is too serious, we're losing the kids, throw in a random and abrupt joke that will disrupt the sanctity of the scene and the tone." All you want to do is pull that dude aside and be like, "What are you doing? This is the chance for your brand to finally have the maturity it desperately needs. DC is outpacing y'all these days with boldness and risks. Be like them." This is ironic because several years ago, they wanted to be like you. Besides the Marvel movie having its trademark Marvel moments, Eternals is the first great entry in the MCU since Black Panther that manages to be its own beast while still being part of its universe. Outside of a few mentions of moments that occur in the MCU, Eternals does a stupendous job being a standalone project while still existing within the MCU. This is the first post-Endgame entry that I can happily call a great movie. I'm sorry, I wasn't that big of a Shang-Chi fan. I'm sorry. While seeing the franchise finally evolve in maturity and take bold risks in its storytelling. Chloé Zhao's masterful and personal direction makes this self-contained ensemble small in scale and huge in scope, delivering ambitious themes of humanity in a biblical and sometimes Shakespearean fashion that other superhero films haven't been able to achieve. This is the emotional richness I've been yearning for from the MCU post-Endgame. More of this, please, Marvel. I love more of your biblical space operas. Give it to me. Give me all your biblical space operas. If you're watching this video post or prior to the film's release, let me know what you think. Do you agree or disagree with my takes? Leave a comment in the comment section below. And hey, while you're here, be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Or head on over to RendyReviews.com where you can find the written review of this film along with hundreds of more reviews. And hey, subscribe to our Patreon, where you can get early access to written reviews, video reviews, and a bunch of other exclusive content that you don't want to miss. Thanks for watching. I'm Rendy Jones, and I'll see y'all next time.